And do you believe in a cheat meal?
No, I don't.
No, you don't?
I think it's a bit of a myth.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a term, I'm going to treat myself. It's like, for what?
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing. If you want to eat it, just eat it, fine, but don't fucking lie to yourself about it. Is my theory about it.
Hi guys, Ruben here with Minboso, and I am very excited to be here at Mana SW1 with TV's hard man, Stephen Doran. I'm only joking, I'm not going to introduce you as that. Hi guys, Ruben here with Minboso at SW1, Mana Gym. I'm very excited to have Stephen Doran, who's an entrepreneur amongst many other things. Stephen, welcome.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
For those of you who may not know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start with the hashtag that you've got written across your t-shirt, Live Daily.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
So Live Daily is an ethos that I created several years back when a friend of mine sadly passed away, and I had an opportunity to reflect on life and what's important. And I decided that really the most important thing is just to live every single day to its fullest potential in whatever that should mean at that given moment. So not necessarily just throwing caution to the wind and doing whatever you want and spending all your money, but loving as much as you can love and giving as much as you can give and showing up as your best self all the time, and also making sure that what you're doing is really in alignment or congruent with who you are, with your values and who you want to be. So yeah, Live Daily is that. It's living every day to your maximum potential.
Amazing. And you've been a fireman? Yes. Still are?
Firefighter. I'm not, no. I left the fire service about, starting to feel old, about 7 or 8 years ago now. Okay. So I was in the fire service for 7 years, since I was 19, which was a bit of a catalyst from being a boy, very much a boy at the time I joined, into a man. And that was one of the best things I've ever done, really, being in the fire service, and some of the experiences and relationships that I formed there, and learnings that I gathered there stick with me for life. So yeah, it's really a key part of my life.
Get into anything dangerous where you thought, this is not what I signed up for, or was the adrenaline rush?
I got into dangerous things, but I thought this is what I signed up for. And also it's weird, once you've drilled something, I find there's a lot of metaphors in the fire, everywhere in life to be honest, but in the fire service you drill something so many times that when you turn up, it's automatic, so you know what you're doing, you know what you've got to do in terms of, you don't really think so much about, oh my God, there's a big fire, it's about to to burn me. You just think, right, I need this hose, I need this person, we need to do this thing, we need to go there, and this is our objective. So you turn into a bit of autopilot. It's only afterwards you reflect and you think, that's a little bit spicy, or goes cool. But no, yeah, so seen some, had some great adrenaline-packed moments.
Okay, and always been into training, and because I guess being a firefighter, you have to do a lot of training. Yeah. Keep fit. Yeah. You look in great shape. So always been into training. Did you do sports as a young
I've
person?
always been into fitness. It's always been a passion of mine. I enjoy it. I enjoy understanding more about the machine that we've got in the body and how it works. And the more I learn, the more I realise I don't know. The more I realise there's more to know. And even now I sort of study only out of my own interest. I'm doing a level 4 strength and conditioning course at the moment, just to learn a bit more about the sort of training. But as a youngster, I played basketball to quite a high level. Then I ran, and then I found weights, and then I went to be big, and then I boxed, and I've been through sport after sport after sport, and I enjoy the variety of all the different sports. So I don't have a particular niche, as it were.
Okay.
But I quite enjoy being able to adapt and apply myself in different areas.
And you've written a book.
Yes.
You want to tell us what that's about?
Yeah, so I wrote a book called Burn the Bullshit. It's a book about limiting beliefs, so burning the bullshit beliefs that we carry around with us about ourselves, about the world, because I really feel that a lot of the time, all the time, most of the time, choose one of the above, the thing that's holding us back in life isn't reality, it's just the reality that we created in our mind. It's the perception that we've got on what we can and can't do. So if we can remove those barriers, I think we can start tapping into what's really possible.
Yeah, I think you're very right. I grew up with no limiting factors around me for different reasons. So there was nothing that I ever thought was impossible. Whereas other people would go, and no, you can't really do that. But no one had said that to me. So I'd just go into everything thinking, well, this is just, I'll give you an example. When I was 15, I went from ballet, because I used to be a ballet dancer at the Royal Ballet School, to running 400 hurdles. And my teacher said, oh, go and represent the school for 400 hurdles at the London Schools Championships. I won that, then I won the next championship and the next championship, and then by the end of the summer I was British champion.
Amazing.
And no one had said, that's not really, you've never run before, that's not so there was no limiting factor, and I think that's really, really crucial. So
I think that's amazing. I think that's how, we're born without those limiting factors, and over the years they're sort of layered on through environment, not intentionally.
No.
But a lot of time they're other people's limiting beliefs that are passed over to you, whether it's parents, friends, teachers, etc. So if you've been able to thrive in an environment where you haven't had that put onto you, I think that's amazing, and you can see through the results of what you've achieved in your life, how that's the case. And then for other people, just because you've inherited at some point something, it doesn't mean you have to keep it. So the book's really just giving people opportunity to go, okay, that's not serving me anymore, I'll get rid of that belief. Because the thing with a belief, I do think you can change your beliefs like that, and when you do change your beliefs, you can change your life very quickly.
So just give your book a quick plug. You can get it on Amazon? Or
yes, you can get it on Amazon.
Okay, amazing. I'm going to order it today. I'm going to have a read and then give you a shout about it.
Yeah, perfect.
Minboso is all about mind, body and soul. Tell me a little, and for the viewers, a little bit about what your beliefs are in life in general. You've spoken about, live daily. Anything else that? Well, beliefs, it's a big subject for me, very interesting one. My beliefs are very flexible. I like to say, and I can't remember who said it, but I'd never die for my beliefs because I could be wrong. So I like to keep an open mind with everything that's presented to me, evaluate based on the evidence, and also, very importantly, is this useful to me? Is it useful for me to have such and such belief? So in regards to mind, body, soul, you can't affect the mind without affecting the body. You can't affect the body without affecting the mind. So for me, and the soul as well is all intertwined. For me, being able to optimize all of those areas in my life is critically important. So I've spent a lot of my own sort of personal time reading on how can I develop my mind, how can I develop my body, and the soul part. I like to think I'm always also constantly striving in terms of soul, but that's one that's, I guess, ambiguous and open to interpretation on what it means to different people. So I find Minboso, it basically means nutrition. Feeding the soul.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what's your morning routine like?
So I tend to get up at the same time every day.
Which is?
5:30.
Okay.
Not because I'm trying to be a hero, just because that works for me. Again, sleep's one of the things I've read into, and I think one of the most important things for me with my sleep is just getting up in the morning and going to bed at the same time every day.
What time do you go to bed?
This is the part where it's not as much of a precise science. I'm just being totally honest. So I aim for 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, and that does me. Realistically, it's normally between 10 and 11, depending on where I'm at. Yeah, but the 5:30 is pretty concrete.
So you're not one of these people that believes in like 2 or 3 hours sleep, and then you can
not 2 or 3. No,
for the rest of your day.
Not 2 or 3. I did listen to an interesting interview with a sleep specialist who said that there are a very, very, very small percentage of people who can survive on a small amount of sleep, and he said if you expressed it as a percentage of the population to the nearest 0.1 and rounded it down, it would be 0. So, I thought when I listened to that, I was like, okay, the reality is, sleep's important.
I worked out very quickly that sleep was my kryptonite. So if I went on a night out with my friends at 16 and got back at 4 in the morning and then tried to get up at 7 to go to do sport or whatever, my body had completely shut down and I felt drunk and almost ill. Whereas, and this is why health and the mind and the soul is a very personal journey, because you have to figure out what's good for you.
Yes.
You know, there are general rules for everybody,
Yeah.
but you have to work out what works for you. So I worked out that I can not go without sleep. So I need to sleep around 8 hours a night, and when I can, get a nap in the day for an hour. But I can go for weeks without eating. Hence, I did a detox in Austria at the Maya Clinic, where I didn't eat for 21 days.
Wow.
And everybody else around me was crumbling. I was taking the bike and going for 20-kilometer bike rides around the mountains with no food. So that's when I worked out, okay, with me, I can go without food, but I can't go without sleep. So it's a very personal journey.
I agree. I think with sleep, what I've found is different people just need different sums, and it's so important to take the time to work out what works for you. And I'm very big on metrics and numbers, and so I'd try something for a few weeks, review it, and then adjust it, adapt it. Okay, it's 5:30, feel a bit tired. I do also use an app at bedtime with a phone on flight mode, which monitors your sleep and helps you to work out when you're in your lighter cycle. So it wakes you up in a 30-minute window rather than dead on the mark. Because what I've always found interesting is we're the only species that unnaturally wakes ourselves from our sleep. Other animals, they just sleep, and then when they wake up, but not human beings. Now we set an alarm that shocks us out of this process, this essential process. So the way I try and sort of take the sting out of that a bit is just setting that window where it hopefully wakes me up at my lightest part of sleep, so I can wake up, feel awake, get on with what I'm doing in the morning.
Yeah, I always, if I manage to go to bed around 10, because I do the same thing, I always wake up around 5. I set an alarm for 6 just in case.
Yeah, the catch.
Just in case, but I always, 99% of the time I wake up before it, so it does.
It's a nice feeling waking up before an alarm as well.
Yeah, it is. But you have to go to bed early.
Yes, you do. Yes.
So your morning routine is you wake up around 5:30.
Yep.
Then what's the next thing that you do?
I wake up. The first thing I do is neck some water.
How much?
That's a great question. So half a pint for me.
Okay.
Sorry, not half a pint, half a litre for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Half a litre for me, and then the next thing I do is a protein shake, just a scoop of protein with water. Then I get up, I do a few stretches, because my body needs a bit of mobilising nowadays. And then I sit with my partner, and we have a meeting about the day upcoming. We have a debrief on the day before, and we have a meeting about the day upcoming. What do we plan to do? What's our goals for the day? What's our goals for the week, the year?
And by partner, you mean your
girlfriend?
Your girlfriend.
Okay. Girlfriend. Yeah. So we sit down with it. So in the evening we prepare our notes. In the morning we'll share our notes. So I'll go through my bits. What went well yesterday? What could be improved? What do I want to get done? What will I get done today? And then sort of tying that into what our overriding goals are and so on. And then we hold each other accountable for that throughout the day. Then I go and meet a friend of mine for our walk. Well, it's normally just over, but we have a walk and a talk, similar sort of vein. We talk about life, love, fitness, business, etc. I come home, have breakfast with my girlfriend, and then get after it, get on with the day.
And what do you have for breakfast? Normally?
My breakfast at the moment is the same every single day. So I have 80 grams of oats with water, a handful of fruit, that changes, the scoop of protein from before, and then I have 3 eggs, 3 egg whites, normally put a little bit of veg in there as well. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
When do you eat again?
And do I eat again 2 hours later?
Okay, so you eat
I eat very regularly, yeah.
Okay.
I eat 9 times a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know.
That's a lot, because I tend to, I've always done intermittent fasting, so now it's a thing, but I was doing it 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when I was an athlete. I found that if I went training and I'd eaten 4 hours earlier, I'd still throw up. Yeah, so I quickly worked out, okay, I'm not eating, and then my body kind of got used to that, and then I've always kind of skipped breakfast and gone straight onto lunch. and then something light. So I don't eat that much.
Yes,
which
I'm
is surprising.
The other end. I've got an iron stomach. I can eat and then train straight after. I've always got food on me. But I do think that's another personal thing. So I know some guys they eat anything like an hour before they're training, it's all coming back up.
Yeah.
Very personal thing, and that's another one I think is important to try and work out. This is working for me at the moment. I feel my blood sugar throughout the day is quite stable, my energy levels are stable, and that's the number one goal for me with the diet is the energy levels and keeping them consistent. And of course, then as well as your health and a little bit of aesthetics. It's nice to. It's
well,
nice to look the
I
part.
always think that looking good is a side effect of training.
Yeah.
You know, it's if you're training well and you're training hard, your body is going to change. And it's going to look good anyway. So just the only thing that I try and get people to realize is that being too lean, because the whole Instagram generation, sometimes they look at people and they, I want to look like that. And what I always say is, what I said last week, I used to be 2.5% body fat.
Wow.
So I looked ridiculously ripped, but then I was constantly getting injured because I didn't have enough fat for the
essential, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Essential. So now I'm not as lean, but I never get ill. I hardly ever get injured unless I've done something silly like not warm up before broad jumps, which we'll do later. So that's your daily routine, and I think it's really interesting, especially the building a plan and then having someone else hold you accountable for did you do these things throughout the day, because otherwise most people tend to just go, I'll do that tomorrow. Whereas if they've got someone else going, did you do that? Then it becomes a completely different thing.
100%.
I do that with my son at the moment. He's 15. I just build him a plan for the week with him on a Sunday, and then every day there's a checklist. Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? And then at the end of the week, he always feels better when he knows everything's being ticked off, or most of it, as opposed to very, very little.
It's fantastic. Yeah, nothing agitates me more than something not getting, saying I'm going to do something and not doing it. No, that gets into me.
So what's your training routine like? Do you
at the moment, or in general?
In general, is it mainly gym, or is it mainly outdoor training? Is it body weight training?
So it's very diverse. So I go through phases, not in this is a phase sense, but in the sense of I have phases of training where I go, okay, for 3 months I'm going to focus down on running and just see what I can do for 5k or whatever. And then I go for a few months where I say I'm going to do some body weight, calisthenics, whatever. Can I get some walking, hands down walks and muscle ups and whatever else? So my training's very, very consistent. Train every day. The type of training that I do varies. I've got a gym at home, so I train at home pretty much every day. Quite fortunate, I've got most of the sort of core cardio equipment and weights equipment, etc. I'd say if I had to categorise the training that I do, a large part of it would be CrossFit style training, but not all of it. But I like the idea of constantly varied, high intensity, functional movements. I enjoy that concept, so a lot of the stuff that I do, it revolves around that really.
It's hard having stuff at home, because then if you're the type of person that you are, you must look at it and go, well, I need to do that. Because I remember when I first got on a Versaclimber. Have you seen a Versaclimber before? Yeah.
Painful bit
it
of
hurt
kit
so much.
Yeah.
And my numbers weren't where I thought they were going to be. I thought, I'm going to get one and put it in my conservatory. And my living room is always overlooking the conservatory, so I made sure wherever I sat, it was right in front of me.
Staring at you.
Staring at me. So then I got into this routine of hitting the Versaclimber to the point where once I got on it and I hadn't checked what the world record was on it, feet done in a certain amount of time, but because I was training boxers, we were doing 3-minute rounds on it, and I thought, I wonder how many feet I can get in one round of boxing, so 3 minutes, and I got 974 feet in the 3 minutes, and then a week later I found out that the world record was actually 1,000 feet in 3 minutes 40. But it was that painful. I thought I'm never going
Never do it again.
No, I'm never going to try and go for that again.
Yeah,
I was in pain for a good 2-3 hours. It was horrible.
I can imagine.
So you having a gym at home is so it's one of those things, isn't it?
The Versaclimber I have not dared to get. I thought about getting one.
Yeah.
Painful, like you said, painful bit of kit. Which I do like a painful bit of kit, to be fair. A friend of mine, Mike Ritchie in Spain, has the unofficial world record on the Versaclimber for the height of Mount Everest, which you can imagine is a very long and disgusting.
Yeah, you can actually set the settings on the Versaclimber to climb the Eiffel Tower, Mount Everest, different things.
Yeah, insane.
He's slim, I guess. Is he slim?
He's similar to me. Maybe when he did that, he's probably a bit similar to me. But he'll go through again, sort of similar. He'll go for a phase of loads of cardio and bike riding, phases of a bit of weightlifting, and at that point he was all about Versaclimber for a good period of time. Yeah, so good bit of kit. Not for me. I do like a bike, the assault bike. Well, I've got an assault bike, ski machine, rower, treadmill. Yeah,
the ski erg, yeah.
I like those 4 bits. I like those 4 bits.
But then, especially the ski erg is I think, is it called the burn or something that CrossFitters do, which is do the ski erg.
One of the acid bath.
The acid bath, So they do the ski erg, the rowing machine. Is it the rowing machine? And the
I can't remember the actual how much they do of what, but and the bike,
the assault bike.
Yeah, is that acid bath? I've never actually tried that workout. I did peg it in my head because I saw it on one of the games, or was it the games or the Rogue or Invitational?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to give it a go, but I know I'll suffer for it afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I got asked about that a while ago. They were like, "Oh, what do you think of this for boxers, for example?" And I said, "It's fine, but." Because I think it's 5 minutes per section, right? So it's 15 minutes.
I'm not sure.
But it's not specific for boxing.
No.
So, but as a one-off, it is
it's an event.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. I don't know if some of the CrossFit workouts I think are amazing challenges. But if you're going all out every workout, for me, and I had different things for different people, for me, I start to feel that I'm overreaching, and I can feel that in myself when I start to get tired or fatigued, and then the whole purpose of my training is counterintuitive because I want more energy, right? So if I'm training to 110% every time, which I do enjoy, which the beast inside me does enjoy, but I try and sort of hit it 90-95% most of my workouts rather than going all out, or I get sort of tired in my head and tired in my body.
So, from the sounds of it, you're one of those people that really enjoys training.
Loves it, yeah.
And you don't really need a goal in order for you to train really hard.
I think the goal is enjoying the training.
Yeah.
I think the goal really is just to enjoy the training. If I can enjoy training, then it's never a chore. Ever.
So, what do you do on days when you just wake up and you're absolutely sore or tired, and you just think, I can't be asked to?
I just get over myself. I just get over my excuses. If it's legitimate, as in, as an injury or whatever, then I'll work around it. But I'll never use not feeling like it. I genuinely, because we all have those days, right, where we just don't feel like going into the gym. You're tired, and we can have any excuse. I haven't eaten properly. I've worked so hard. I'm so tired. I didn't sleep. Whatever the excuses, we've got legitimate sounding excuses. I really think, in my experience, when you actually just get in and get on with it, you come out of those workouts feeling so good. Yeah. So good. Yeah. That it's the only logical thing to do. You have to just go in and get on with it, because I know if I don't want, to be throwing around weights, if I just jump on the treadmill for half an hour, some of them are the best runs, and I come out of it literally bouncing off the walls, feeling so vibrating. I think there's a myth that when you're tired, you need to, within reason, when you feel tired, you need to rest and go and lay down, when a lot of the time you need to put energy in to make more energy. I'm
agreeing with you, because that's ringing true. I mean, when I was younger and I didn't really understand my mind as well as I do now, whenever I felt like that, I just used to say to myself, get dressed. Just think about that. Just put your kit on. And then the next step was, right, get to the gym. And I'd get in the gym and say, right, you're going to sit there for 2 minutes. Yeah. But as soon as I was in the gym, I was like, right, let me just warm up.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being some of my best sessions ever. And then that taught me to go, okay, when you're feeling like this, you can always get more out of yourself.
100%, yeah, without a shadow of doubt. I think if you ask it of yourself, you'll get it. And what you said was really interesting, because I always talk about chunking and breaking things into the smallest possible chunks. So rather than going, I've got to go in the gym and do an hour workout, it's like, well, no, you haven't. You just got to put your kit on.
Yeah,
and then you've got to.
I still phase my training like I did when I was an athlete. So I go through this adaptation phase, which I was talking to you about earlier, which is strengthening my tendons, ligaments, joints, and my fascia, and just getting into shape so then I can train. And then I go through a strength phase, strength endurance, power endurance, and then I'm ready to hit whatever it is that anyone throws at me. So I go through those phases, and it usually takes like a year to get there. And yeah, I still really enjoy it. So, hey Steve, let's revisit your book.
Yeah, sure.
How long did it take you to write it?
I think all in all it took about 6 months. But it felt like 6 years. Well, it took about 6 months. Yeah.
Mental blocks whilst you were writing it?
I think you've got to push through.
When you say push through, are you talking about you're sat, I'm guessing you wrote it on a laptop, right?
Yeah.
When you say push through, did you just stay there until something came, or were you just writing anything that flew?
I heard I can't remember where I heard it, but I heard someone say before, like this was in relation to music, and if a songwriter struggles to get songs out, just write for the bin. And I took that advice, and it was like, well, just write shit. I don't know if am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you're allowed to swear.
Yeah, so this idea of just writing whatever you can, doesn't have to be logical or make sense, and then even if you might delete that first part you wrote, it starts to flow into something. But if you allow yourself just to stop, then overcoming that inertia can be really difficult. So I just like the idea of write for the bin. Just write stuff, whatever comes to your head, don't worry about it, and then tidy it up, create a structure afterwards if you're struggling to get going.
Yeah.
But using a block, I don't say as an excuse, but using it as a reason not to write, I don't think's good enough. If you've allocated time and you're writing, then you just write something, anything, and then just get yourself. The trick is to get yourself going.
I think I heard Ed Sheeran say something similar, which was he wasn't a good songwriter. Now people think he's one of the most amazing songwriters ever, but he just had to practice the amount of rubbish or crap he wrote. He just kept writing and writing and writing until he became good at it.
Exactly.
Same as Will.i.am, I think, said something similar. They said, well, you can't write hooks. Things, songs that get people, going and stuff. And now he's known as the hook guy. So that's really interesting. So, what inspired you to write the book?
I think everyone's got a book in them about something. For me, it was just at that point, I was putting so much content into my mind. It just started spilling out, and I thought, right, I've got a lot of different things from a lot of different places. I want to find out what I think and lay all of my sort of beliefs and my understandings of this knowledge into one place. Because let's face it, this isn't stuff that I'm ignorant enough to think that I've created. This is ideas and philosophies and strategies that I've borrowed from loads of different people, and I just wanted to put them in a way that if I picked up the book, it would work for me. I'm quite a practical guy. I like to keep things relatively simple, but also my book was very much about not just theory, but execution. So we can read loads of books, and most people in the personal development world can relate to this. Is you pick up a book, you read it, you go, that's really interesting, you put it down, nothing changes. So throughout the book I just interlace a load of exercises to hold people accountable to, like, all right, you've read that, now implement it. You've read that, now implement it. So we're actually getting things done. And I thought there was a lack of books that really got people to take action.
Yeah.
So that was.
I think that's really interesting, because when I get asked, for example, I did a online talk the other day to like 1,500 people in a Zoom call, and I said, if you're interested about some of the things I've said, please email in and I'll send you some free information. And I shouldn't have done that, because it took our team a lot of work to write back to everybody. But when I then had an email from a doctor who said, all of the stuff that you spoke about, he said he advised the NHS on health and nutrition, and all of the stuff that I was speaking about was completely the opposite end of the scale, but it rang true to him. And so he said, is there any way that I can learn all the things that you know and all the rest of it? When I was talking to him, I just basically said, this is a lot. When I didn't go out for my 21st birthday, I was at home reading, just because I was always interested in biology and chemistry and all of these things. So I was engrossed, and my friends were like, "Are you coming out?" I was like, "Yeah, in a minute." I completely forgot and just fell asleep, and so it's been a lifetime of learning. But through that learning, you learn one thing, and then another thing, and then another thing, and then all of these things start fitting into your head like a jigsaw puzzle.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you go, "Oh my God, that's not true. That's amazing." Do you know what I mean? So I think that's because I was speaking about before, I'm writing a book, so I'm putting all of that into all of these years of knowledge into the book. So and sometimes I get a stumbling block. I hit a stumbling block, and I think, what should I do? But like you said, I just carry on writing.
That's right. Yeah.
And then it pours out. So your book's the #1 bestseller on Amazon. Woo. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Cool.
That's huge. It's a success. You must have been very proud of that.
I was very happy about that. Yeah, I was very happy about that. When we put the book out, it would have been a shame for it to go out and to not get read. When you've put so much work into something, you want to share it. So we did quite a strong campaign at the beginning when we launched to get it out there. Unfortunately, it worked, and we managed to spike the algorithms of Amazon and the book, and however the magical beast works, and hit #1, which was really cool. It
Amazing.
was really cool.
Amazing. Yeah. You must have been really proud of that. So, you let's talk a little bit about your TV series. Tell us a little bit about that. BBC.
Special Forces.
Yeah, Special Forces, BBC.
Yeah, that was one of the best and worst experiences I've ever had.
Okay.
Some really dark places there, which I love, hence best and worst. But yeah, it was super tough, man. You go into things and you think, oh, is it really going to be that tough? But I took it seriously, but I didn't have ages to train for it. So, but I do think a lot of the Special Forces stuff boils down to mental resilience.
Yeah,
especially from what I saw on that show, I mean, it's one thing to run whatever 30, 40K or whatever. It's another thing to do that when you're wet, when you're cold, when you don't really know how far you're running, or you don't know how long you'll be running, when you're going to eat again, and stuff like that. So I think, but that's where I thrive. The mental strength thing is really where I think for me my strength is. So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the pain that I earned through the process. And met some great people, some really formidable athletes. Got an opportunity to get some insight into how they work, how they work cognitively. So I think once you're at a certain level of fitness, the rest of it really boiled down to where your head was at.
Absolutely. I think when talking about the Versaclimber before, no matter what someone does on a Versaclimber, even if they're fitter than me, I will always beat them. Yeah, and that's. May not necessarily happen. It always has happened.
I get it.
But in my head, I'm like, right, I'm going to attack this thing. And when the pain starts, because that's how, when I was an athlete, it was a blessing and a curse. A blessing because there were no limits in my mind. So I would start every training session, and in my mind, the training session only started when I hit the wall.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, if you do that every day, you're only human, and you're not taking special supplements and that kind of stuff. So your body breaks down.
That's when we start overtraining. Right?
Start overtraining and running into problems. And I when I was 21, 22, my mentor was Derek Redmond. He used to be one of Britain's best 400-meter runners, and he was at the Olympics and tore his hamstring, and his dad helped him across the line.
I remember.
So Derek was my mentor, and I was talking to him the other day, and he said, with you, no matter how much I spoke to you, you just wouldn't stop I have to get to that level every single training session, and that's where you run into problems, and that's where now I've got the experience to go, okay, my body needs a rest. So you're also known as TV's hard man.
By some, maybe,
Why don't you tell us how that came about?
There was an incident a year or two back where I was in a restaurant, an incident where somebody was trying to rob the restaurant.
Okay.
I just caught it in the corner of my eye. There was a guy having a scuffle with a waiter. I didn't really know what was going on. Then I noticed the guy had a load of cash in his hand, realised that he'd taken it from the till. He threw the waiter to the ground and he ran to the door. I didn't really think about it, so I can't really take too much credit. I just ran and managed to intercept him before he got out and just waited for the police. And then, a couple of news articles glamorizing things in the way they do, decided I was a TV hard man, which is it? I guess it's a compliment. Yeah, I'll take it. But no, it's quite fortunate that I managed to stop the incident and also that nobody obviously got hurt.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's one of life's fun stories.
That's admirable. I know. So sometimes you do things and you don't think about your own safety. And, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could have had a knife or a gun. Or
exactly. Yeah.
But
exactly. Yeah. It's only afterwards you think, was that the right move? I think we live in a funny time nowadays. More people would get their phone out and just film it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most fucked up things about the time that we live in. But it's good to try and help people out, I think, so, where you can. Yeah. That thing you were saying about the Versaclimber, I get that. On my treadmill, next to my treadmill, I've got the quote by Will Smith.
Yeah.
So if we both get on the treadmill, one of two things is going to happen. Yeah. You're going to get off or I'm going to die.
Yeah. And,
that's literally next to my treadmill.
I've over the years, but from an early age, I became very good at sussing my position out.
Yeah.
So, the other day I was training a boxer and he was fitter than I am. And we were doing, at the end of a very long, grueling 3-hour session, which I'd taken part in, we were doing high knees. And he said, I want to beat you, because I'd beaten him 6 months earlier. It was 6 months of training. And he said, right, no clock on the high knees, let's just go until someone stops. And halfway through, I thought, this is starting to burn like a bastard.
Yeah.
So I put more effort into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my knees started coming up higher, and I gave, and this is where I can relate to you, where you give more energy to the thing that's hurting you. A lot of people don't know how to do that, but I always find if you give more energy and you give more energy and you give more energy, the other person looks at you and thinks,
shit.
What the hell is that?
And
it drains the energy.
You've won.
It drains the energy out of them, and then he kind of stopped. And then I stopped 3 seconds after that, and I thought to myself, that's all I had left.
Thank God he stopped.
But if I'd I could have given more to it. So I can relate to that, because it's the first time I've been speaking to another person and they've been of the same mindset, where you give more energy.
I do it with anything. So if it's running, if it's a workout, whatever it is, like you say, I'm always sussing the other person out. I could be in the worst pain of my entire life, but I'll make a point of you not knowing, because I know that if you realise I'm in pain, you might think you can win. But I need to make you think you can't win. So it's a simultaneous physical. So like you say, you could be fitter, but in my head I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna smile now. And you're gonna think shit.
Bluff your way to winning. Bluff your way to winning. Are there any regular supplements which you take?
Yes, mostly vitamins. I don't eat fish. I take omega-3s. I take CLA, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E. I take B6. So I get my bloods done every 3 months. Okay. And depending on where they're at, then sometimes I add things in, I'll take things out. So the B6 was because my prolactin was a little bit high, probably because I trained too much, a little bit too much still. I'm all about metrics, and I think we're a machine, a system that we can hopefully try and tweak to our advantage. So I think the bloods is a great way to get an insight on what's going on inside your body. So I do change what I take here and there, but that's the basically nothing amazing. I take with gym, I take obviously your protein, and I cycle creatine, and I take glutamine, BCAAs, but that's about it.
Okay. I've never really taken supplements. I've taken, if you can call protein a supplement, I've taken protein, but I always try and get supplements from a natural source. So like I take bee pollen, around 40 different vitamins and minerals, pound for pound. It's got 3 to 4 times more protein than beef, chicken and eggs. you know, so I try and take things that are natural, like chlorella, which is an algae.
Used to be in a drink that I used to have that did not taste nice.
No, it doesn't taste good at all.
It's like drinking a pond.
The thing is, I got my son used to eating it from a baby, and now he eats it and he likes the taste of it. Where good. I won't tell him, hopefully he's not watching, that it doesn't taste the best. But you got these, you can get it in little tablets now, and you just pop them. I pop like 40 a day, and I feel like it gives me a lot of energy. So apart from that, and I'm a massive believer in water, because I think that people do not really understand what water does for them. The same way, I explained this the other day to some people, that the same way you take a shower, and they say, oh well, I drink lots of liquid, like juices and tea or coffee or this, that and the other. I'm like, you wouldn't wash yourself with tea or coffee. You wash yourself with clean water. So your body needs clean water to wash itself internally, and you're about 75 to 80% water anyway. So you should be more focused on drinking lots of water and the right type of water, as opposed to what should I be eating.
100%.
Speaking of which, so how much water do you drink a day? Do you reckon?
Averagely, well, I tend to log it, so it's around the 3.5 to 4 litres.
Okay.
But it fluctuates depending on the weather, the training, the whatever else, but around that sort of mark,
And do you believe in a cheat meal?
No, I don't.
No, you don't?
I think it's a bit of a myth. There's a term, I'm going to treat myself. It's like, for what? For what? This is amazing. If you want to eat it, just eat it, fine, but don't fucking lie to yourself about it. Is my theory about it. So I believe in training you can do like a strategic refeed day if you're loading carbohydrates, but then that's not a cheat meal, because you're not loading, I don't know, trans fats and sugars. You're eating, I don't know, maybe complex carbs or certain types of carbs for a certain purpose. I believe in strategy. a cheat meal is like do you cheat on your partner and cheat on your fucking taxes and cheat on your meal? I don't know. No, I don't. I think it's an interesting term.
I've never had a cheat meal.
I've
never had one. I've always just, like when I was an athlete, it's interesting that you say you were having porridge, because when I was an athlete, I had for 17 years, every morning I'd have wet porridge. I'd soak my porridge overnight in the morning, drain out the water and have it with a couple of berries, like that, you know. So I never thought this whole thing of a cheat meal, or you're either doing the right thing or you're not,
or just know that, but know that you're not. Like, if you really want to have something, just have it.
It's like when people ask, do you drink alcohol?
No, I don't.
No, never.
No, rare.
I'd never, a glass of wine?
Not even. So this year I've probably drank alcohol once. And it probably would have been, it would have been a glass of wine, but not to the point where I got drunk. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a big drinker. Over the years, I've never ever been a drinker. It's never been a big thing for me, drinking.
Ever been drunk?
Yeah. I don't like being out of control of my mind, personally. So I don't smoke weed. I don't. I like to feel sharp. I don't like to feel dumbed down, or I like to be aware of what's going on. It just doesn't sit with me. I'm not knocking it. Different things to different people, but I'm not a big drinker. I can have a drink and have a laugh. Don't get me wrong, but if I fell into that routine too much, I know it would make me unhappy.
I'm not a big drinker, because of being an athlete and a ballet dancer and all that kind of stuff when you were young, and then moving on. But I did have an experience when I was 16, which I think turned me into never drink again. My mum had gone away and she had a whole bottle of Russian vodka at home. I'd never tasted alcohol in my life, and I thought, what's the big deal? And I started drinking it, and somehow I got through the whole bottle.
Jesus.
And that was on a Friday afternoon at 2:00. I remember I came home from school and I started, and I woke up on Sunday evening, and I had a headache for a week.
Jesus.
And at that point I thought, never again. I've done it. And it was in the safety of my own house, luckily. The house I needed to clean before my mum came, because it looked like the Exorcist had hit it. And that was it. That was the first and last time. You know. So I'm the same as yourself. Do you cook?
I do. Yeah.
Good cook. Who's better, you or your partner? Come on, answer straight away.
I can't answer that question, man. She's very good at different dishes. We complement each other.
Okay, nice.
I'm good with the seasoning. She's good with the other bits. We complement each other. I don't know. I'm not answering that question. It's not worth it.
No, it's not. It's a sneaky question. What are your food influences? Do you have, like, is it just mainly plain or?
I try and eat just wholesome food. So I'll eat for carbohydrates, mostly low glycemic index. I don't demonize carbs. I just try and be aware of what they do. And because I lift weights at the moment, quite a lot of weights, I want to keep my glycogen stores replenished. So I have a lot of brown carbs, rice, pasta, etc. But that cuts off after a certain time. I eat meat. I try and get good quality meat. I don't like the word try. I get good quality meat. Eat meat. I don't really eat much or any processed food that I can think of. Probably the guiltiest stuff that I have is your pre-workouts and protein, because obviously I'm aware they're not super healthy.
Yeah.
No, I eat quite whole food. Yeah.
Okay, nice. What do you do to manage your mental health?
That's a great question. I communicate is one of the things I do. So if I don't feel right, I'll talk to people. First thing I'll ever do is, because we all have days where we're up and down, and this is where I don't like the myth that, he's always happy or he's always in a great mood, because the mood fluctuates for a number of reasons, and that's normal. So if I know I don't feel right, the first thing I do is tell people around me, like, feel a bit off key today, nothing to do with you. That's me, so that anything I say or do, not that I'm giving myself a pass to say or do anything wrong, but if I'm communicating in a way that doesn't seem that friendly, it's not, don't read into it. So I'll always tell my partner that I don't quite feel right, it's nothing to do with you. Or I take myself away to have a think, have some space. So, as a daily practice, I meditate, I plan, I think, I reflect, I'll discuss things. If I think or feel a way that is not ideal about something, I'll talk to people about it. I think it's so important, and get their opinion on it, because then sometimes they'll give me other perspective that lets me see something in a different way. When I was a lot younger, I struggled to know how to process emotions very well, especially as a teenager. And I went through some quite difficult times psychologically. That really led me to personal development and learning about confidence and learning about happiness and emotion and understanding myself a bit more. So now I just try and interlace it into my daily life. I'm aware that you need time to stop. In today's day and age, nobody stops. Everything's non-stop. We wake up, we pick up at your phone. You go throughout the day, you're talking, you're doing this and this, and nobody ever stops to think. So I take time to think. So I'll either lock myself in a room for an hour with no communication, then I'll do that and let my thoughts settle and think about what I want to do with my life, where do I want to go, where am I at, or think about nothing.
I think that's really important, because if you're not thinking, someone else is doing the thinking for
100%,
you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people don't really understand, especially like with today's world, the way it is. People think that they'll find the answers from TV or from Google, whereas that they're allowing those things to do the thinking for them instead of critically thinking about what's going on.
There's enough things that are trying to influence you.
Exactly.
So I'm one of my favourite metrics. I said I'm about metrics. One of my favourite metrics over the last week is, you look on your phone on the battery sort of usage, and you can see what screen time you've had on what apps. It's like social media. I've had, I think it was 21 minutes over the last week. So I did 3 minutes average on Instagram and Facebook, etc. a day. And when I'm doing that, it's generally to go on, send a message, come off. I'm super limited on certain platforms because I know that they don't serve me. They just don't serve me. They don't have value for me. Which is one of the things I love about Minboso, is that you can jump on a platform where there is so much constant value. There's so much positive, constructive, useful, implementable, strategic information, rather than ads, negativity, conspiracy, whatever. So for me, social media doesn't gel well with me. So I'll go through periods where I'll just deactivate, and if I've had enough, I'll just go. If there's too much hate on there, I'll just go. I don't want to get sucked into something. I'm very big on being in charge of my life, being the captain of my ship. Every month I try and take myself away for a few days. So in a couple of weeks I'm going to go away for a few days. No phone, no communication, just me, pen, paper, sit, think, plan, come back. execute. I think all of those things for me are important. Again, as with anything, different people are different, but that's certainly what I've found to work for me.
Okay, amazing. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's been amazing to get your thoughts on all of these things, especially mind, body, and soul. We're going to do a little warm up now and get to do some of these tests, the chins or pull-ups. I don't know which one are you going to decide to do, chins or pull-ups.
It's a good question. If it was a workout, I'd go pull-ups.
Yeah.
I'm always pull-ups.
Yeah.
But seeing as there's like a competitive element to this,
yeah.
I feel like chins would probably be a better idea.
Yeah.
What would you say in your expert opinion?
Well, when I did this last week, I chose chins.
Yeah.
Just because you can bring in the bicep, and it's an easier.
A few more reps maybe.
Yeah, you can get. It's easier than going for a pull-up.
Yeah.
Especially with arms as long as mine. So I chose the chin. So I think that's
my thinking. Yeah,
that's a very good thing. And then we've got broad jump and 1 minute row, and that's it. Oh, then the Connect 4.
Sounds great. Connect 4. Yeah. Sounds great.
Minboso is all about mind, body, and soul. For more exclusive content, like, subscribe, click on the link below, above. Do your thing. Any questions, direct message us, and see you there.